Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Gabby and here is my current setup. Don't mind my whiteboard. I have been teaching online, so that has been interesting. So today the video is going to be about some different ways that I have been handling the quarantine and just some things that I think that could be useful to you as they've been useful to me. So one of the things that I've been thinking about is books, right? Last year I read a lot of self-help books, and which is in a video, which I don't know why I did this. I'm probably not going to link it. Maybe I'll link it in the description bar. There was some really great books, and so I wanted to share with you some of the ones that I think would be really great for a time like this, to really kind of help bring that mindset up a little bit more and just that positivity flow a little bit. I do want to go ahead and say that however you're feeling is perfectly okay and perfectly valid. You know, none of us know how we're really supposed to feel during this time. There's no right way to feel, and because nobody's been through something like this ever in our lifetime. And so if you feel sad and hopeless some days, that's perfectly okay. And because we don't know what's going to happen, but all we can try to do is feed in a little bit of positivity here and there into our lives, so that way once this does pass, because it will pass, we can kind of ease back into life in a much flowier way, if you will. Okay, so here are some of the things that I've been doing. So first things first is I want to recommend these magazines. These magazines have been amazing. I'm so happy I found them, and they are the Breathe magazines. They are Breathe magazines. They are based in the UK. They're amazing. It's really so this is a special edition. It's about gratitude, and there are tons and tons of articles all about gratitude, which is really one of the biggest things we need to have right now in our lives. I am so grateful to have somewhere to just be. So I have three or four issues of the Breathe magazine. They're my favorite. I love them so much. They're all a little bit different and filled with maybe a certain topic, but they're broken down into categories. So there's a category about well-being, a category about mindfulness, creativity, and escaping. And everybody that writes it is different. The artwork is so cute, and it's very nice, and it's a read that you can do maybe once a day, one little article a day, or before you go to bed, or however you think is good for you. So I really recommend getting the Breathe magazines. I will link where you can get them below. They are actually doing, because they are based in the UK, they are a little bit pricier. They're $14, which is pretty pricey for a magazine. But they are doing their back issues right now, and they're $7, or closer to $8. So they're like cut in half almost, and which is really great. I would highly recommend checking them out, and I'll like I said, I'll link that below for you to find. The next book that you could order is called The Atlas of Happiness. This book is amazing. This book really combines my love for culture and just perspective, in a book form. And I've talked about this book a couple times. It's by Helen. She's fantastic. It talks about, I think, 30 different countries, and it gives you an explanation of a little bit about that country, and it gives you like a word that they kind of live by. For example, in Costa Rica, they live by pura vida, and it lets you know what that means, kind of where it came from, and along with this really cute little picture that it gives you And then it'll go into a little bit about how this happened, a little bit about their lifestyle, the Costa Ricans, how do they live. And it goes into a couple pages about that. And on the last page, it gives you how can you experience pura vida in your own life. I know sometimes we think like when we're traveling that we have to, or when we want to learn something new about a place, maybe we have to go there and really experience it, which in a lot of cases, that's true. But if you were to take a little piece of another culture and bring it into your life, you can do that too. And I think this book kind of gives you a cool way to do that. And it gives you like little tips on how you can kind of implement pura vida in this case in your life. And so I highly recommend this book for just a little dose of pleasure, culture reading, and happiness. Honestly, it is called the Atlas of Happiness after all. Another book is A New Earth. So this book has really changed my perspective on a lot of things. It is a pretty deep read, so I recommend taking notes. I have a few sticky notes in the book that kind of just help me process the ideas because they are pretty complex. And it's by Eckhart Tolle. I'm sure you've heard of this book. It's on Oprah's must-read book, and he has a couple other books as well. I highly recommend this book. It's a spiritual journey wrapped with complex thinking. And it's called Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And it really puts a perspective on the spirituality side of God and like who that is. The only reason I say to read it now during this time is because you have so much time to process it and think about it. But at the same time, it's definitely for maybe like the spiritual reader, someone who's just very fascinated with the universe and the world around them. But I think that anybody could read this book and have a different idea or perspective. So highly recommend. The last book that I'm going to talk about is this book, The Book of Chakra Healing by Liz Simpson. There are tons of chakra books. I actually got this book. This is the first book I ever bought that was about spirituality. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and if you know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses, it was a very closed off religion from pretty much anything else. And so this is the first book I bought a few years ago, probably almost about 3.5 years ago, I think, when I started my spiritual journey of all this stuff. And it really changed my life. I'll begin with saying that chakras really came from watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you've ever watched that, then you are amazing, and I already love you. That show is my favorite show of all time, next to Friends, probably. But it really is a great show, and there was an episode about chakras, and ever since when I was a kid, I was just curious as to what they were, but I knew I couldn't really look into it and learn about it because of my religion. And so once I was like, I'm out of here, this is the first book that I grabbed. I'm buying this chakra book, and it's beautiful. It's has roots in Hinduism, and if you have any interest, like I said, in spirituality or just cleansing yourself of any negative energy or anything like that, I highly recommend either getting a book like this or this book. There are, like I said, tons of books about chakras, lots of blogs and articles about them. I'm actually thinking of making a mini series about what chakras are, explaining each individual one and how you can use it in different ways. So that's something that I'm thinking about doing as well. So I highly recommend this book, as well as all the other books and magazines I talked about. Another thing that I think is really good for us to do right now is breathe and take a second to just express creativity in any way, shape, or form. It literally can be in the smallest way possible. And for me, that means, just drawing just for whatever reason, and coloring, as silly as that sounds. And one of those things that really helps me feel just like in a zone without feeling like I have to do anything, but at the same time I feel like some pleasure, is when I do my bullet journal. And I'm very happy with my bullet journal because it has changed my life. I've been bullet journaling for about a year and a couple months, since 2019. January of 2019 is when I started bullet journaling. It changed my life because I really had no planner that I could brain dump in, write my expenses in, put my to-do list, track how I'm feeling, and just write notes. I had so many, I had a planner, I had a spiral, so I could write all this stuff, and it was too much. And I need one place to put everything, to just put all my thoughts. And so I got a bullet journal, and it's been great ever since. I get to track all my expenses. I get to make goals for myself on a monthly basis, and not make yearly goals for myself, because I think that's biting off more than you can chew. So making a bullet journal, here's my April spread. It's not that great, but you know, it's fine. I'm gonna put my April goals tomorrow, and I have a reflection page that for at the end of the month I can just kind of, you know, assess how it went. My favorite thing about bullet journals is they can be as creative and as simple as you want them to be. Now, I love creating things, but I am not the best at drawing. And that's the great thing about bullet journals. They don't have to be perfect. They can be exactly how you want them. You see, this is a cloud somehow with raindrops. Now, you may or may not think it is, but it is. And yeah, it's something really fun for me to do. This is the only place I feel like I don't have to be a perfectionist. I am a perfectionist, something I'm working on, but this is the one place where I'm like, I'm just gonna throw it on there. Whatever is there is what's there, and so be it. So that's another thing I suggest doing while we have all this extra time, is just trying to put some type of creative energy into maybe a planner, or maybe some colorful notes if you're still doing schoolwork. I don't know, just make anything that you're doing that's typically not as fun, try to find a different way, a different perspective to make it fun. Also, another thing is, if you've been learning a language, you know, there's a website called italki.com, and it is a huge platform to learn languages. You can learn literally any language you want. You can pay for somebody to tutor you professionally or with just a community tutor. And they're typically very low rates. You know, I have had lessons that are as low as $8 and lessons as high as $25. So there's all types of rates. You know, you can watch an intro video about your tutor, or you can have a language exchange with somebody. So maybe they want to learn English and you want to learn Spanish. So maybe in 30 minutes you talk in English, and 30 minutes you talk in Spanish, and that's free, and you're just benefiting each other. And so that's a really great way to spend some time, is to just learn a new language. Maybe that's something that you've been putting on the back burner for a long time, but this is the time to not let those things go on the back burner. You know, like I said, it's okay to have days where you just do nothing, or even hours out of the day where you just do nothing and just relax, because that is totally valid and totally acceptable, because we don't have to be productive all day long. And I know it's taken me a little bit to realize that, like, okay, if you take an hour or two to watch The Good Doctor, that is okay. I will get to my chakra healing, I will get to my reading later. It will still be there because I am still going to be home. So that's just something that I've kind of been thinking about lately. And another thing that I would like to recommend is Insight Timer. I will show it below or in a picture if I can figure out how to do that. It is a meditation app, and it has really been amazing. If you want to start meditating and don't know how, I really recommend it, because you could have meditations that last as short as 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. You can have it last for however long you want. because there's so many different teachers, and it just kind of guides you through a meditation. And I've been doing the 5-minute meditations because I am new to meditation, and it's very hard for me to sit still. So I'm gradually trying to get better. We will see how it goes. But yeah, that's something that I recommend downloading if you want to try to start meditating. But yeah, the next video that I put, I think I'm going to talk about some podcasts that I think are have been really beneficial to listen to, just about all different topics. So I'll definitely go into a little bit more detail in my next video about that. I hope any of this information could have helped you, and you know, we just have to get through this one day at a time. You know, if you've lost your job in this process, or you are a nurse or doctor anywhere in the essential fields, if you work at a grocery store, you know, just anywhere that's still open, you know, I want to say thank you to those people, because, you know, it's such a, I can't even put it into words. You know, you are really putting everything on the line for people like me and, you know, everybody else, to get the essentials that they need. And that's really so powerful. And I hope that the universe just gives you 10 times, you know, what it is that you want in your life, because you deserve it. And thank you. I really, really am so thankful for you, and grateful that, you know, we have our health right now. And if you have any family members or anybody in your family that is struggling, you know, I am sending all the positive energy your way, because I know it's terrifying. But, you know, all we can do is take it one day at a time. And I hope that I know this will get better sooner than later. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.